The masseter muscle is one that I wrote in. Okay, masseter muscle, the reason we put it on, that's the muscle that you use for chewing. Okay, the reason I pulled out the 3D hex, probably much better off, and plus you're nice and full.
I'm sure.
Here, go
I'm
over here.
positive.
Then I can't see.
Okay?
Right here, in front
Okay,
of me.
the reason I pulled this one out, because it's the only one that we have in here that shows the masseter muscle. Remember, it went from the zygomatic bone to the mandible. Okay, right over here is the masseter muscle. We have a bunch of salivary glands, the ones we're asking you to know. First one is the parotid gland, right? It's typed in nice. You ever eat something sour, you get a twinge underneath? That's because your parotid gland is doing the job. The glands are always shown in this kind of, pink putty color. See where my finger is, right underneath the ear? Parotid gland. I have to get the saliva from the parotid gland into my mouth, so I have the parotid duct. See this pink line coming across from it? Parotid duct. Okay, so parotid gland, parotid duct, and underneath the parotid duct is where we show our masseter muscle, right? Okay, another one I wrote in, I didn't write very neat, I'm sorry, is submandibular gland. It's telling me where it is. Mandible is your jawbone, right? It's under the jawbone. They're also salivary glands. Here's the guy's jaw. Up underneath here, another putty-colored little bumpy structure, submandibular gland. You see this guy, this side of the head, I can ask you 4 things, parotid gland and parotid duct. Won't ask you the gland and the duct because they're both the same. Either or, I'll ask you, okay? Masseter, submandibular, okay? Now I flip his head around, okay? We have another model that's flat that we can use, all right? So now we're looking at the,
Sinuses.
Tongue.
well, I'm gonna go down the list, okay? So we're doing we're doing digestion. First thing we have is the tongue. Believe it or not, I'm gonna do my best to get as close to 100 questions as I can, which means I'm really gonna be asking you every single freaking thing on the list, okay? See the big old guy where my finger is? That's his tongue, okay? People get confused because that's what they wanna see, and that's not what they're getting. Tongue. Hard palate, okay. Hard palate, and I have maxillopalatine bones. Hard palate is the top of the roof of your mouth where we have a bone, okay? Hard palate actually is made up of 2 bones, the palatine process of the maxilla, and the very back is the palatine bone. It's too confusing. You're just going to tell me hard palate, okay? You don't have to tell me whether I put it all the way at the very back or not, okay? So top of the tongue, top of the roof of the mouth, right, okay? Top of the roof of the mouth. You have to follow it. Where I have the bone, which is kind of in white, which goes right through here, hard palate. Where I have no bone, the next little section, soft palate. What hangs down, the next little section is the uvula. If I repeat myself, it's just because it's on a list in another section, okay?
Where's the uvula?
The little guy that hangs down.
It's not here.
You didn't have that on the list. It's not on the list.
Where?
Okay, listen to me. It's on the respiratory. If I
Respiratory, okay.
Okay, so I just go through, I don't leave anything out, I just go right through down the list, even no matter which page it's on. Okay, all right, so, hard palate, soft palate, uvula, okay? I have, the next section is the oropharynx. Remember, the pharynx was the tube that runs in the back. The section that's behind the nasal cavity from the respiratory is the nasopharynx. The section that's behind the oral cavity, okay, is the oropharynx. And also from the respiratory, the section that's behind the larynx is the laryngopharynx. So in this part, because we're doing digestion, we're identifying the oropharynx.
And what would you say, the section? How would you ask the question?
How about name the tube?
Name the tube.
That way you won't
Okay.
fight with me. Okay. Next structure, palatine tonsils. We gotta have a lot of tonsils because we don't want my strep throat to go up into my nose and into my ears, right? Okay. When I say, oh my God, I don't feel well, which I did this morning, let me see if I have pus on my tonsils, and I open my mouth and shine the flashlight in. What I'm looking at is my palatine tonsils. Okay, what you ask your kids to. But we're looking at a sagittal cut, so we're not gonna see those 2 nice little balls hanging down in the back of your throat. Okay, so what I do is I find where the uvula comes down, and I find right beneath it where my finger is, there's like a little bump on our model, because I'm looking at it from a different angle. That is the palatine tonsil, okay? Okay, see the little bump over in here where my fingernail is? I'm pretty sure I'm in the right spot. Sure I am. Okay, palatine tonsil. Oh, yeah. Thank you for telling me. Lingual tonsil under what?
Tongue.
The tongue. Lingual tonsil under the tongue.
See the lighter part on the end?
Lingual tonsil under the tongue. I should have had a manicure. Who knew I was going to be in so many pictures? Okay.
Smile.
Yeah, don't get my face. Don't ever let me listen to the voice. Okay, so the next one we have is the esophagus. So, okay, I have a little section of the esophagus going right over here, right? So in theory, I could ask you here if I wanted to, okay? Or I can ask you on this guy. Oh, this one's broken. If I pull him out of his esophagus, it's gonna fall on you. Okay.